Okay, we are recording. Welcome everyone to the March 19th iteration of the MicroProfile live Hangout. Insert applause here. Looks like we've got a good turnout today. The meeting minutes are in the chat. It is everyone's responsibility to, shared responsibility to take notes during the meeting. Also, please add your name to the meeting minutes just so we know who's attended. I guess with that, hold on. Somebody looked really, was that Richard? Really comfortable on the couch. Okay.
Sorry.
You look a chair. You look way too comfortable. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see here. Kevin, looking at the agenda here, I was just going to go down the list. Kevin, do you want to maybe start out with the MicroProfile 3.0?
Yeah, just, okay, so I was just verifying, you did post the video from last.
I think I did.
Hangout. Yep. Yeah, I was just verifying that because I didn't remember seeing a tweet about it, but.
I should have. My bad. I did. Yeah, that should be a policy. Well, informal, right? Yeah, we should tweak these minutes.
Yeah. Just.
Hello, everyone, and I agree with that.
Okay.
I knew you would.
Anything that brings more transparency is awesome.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, as far as the MicroProfile 3.0 content, so I did update the calendar. That was one of my actions from before with putting out the required dates for the preliminary reviews for the components. You know, getting the CQs in place, the IP requirements for the reviews. So I put that on to the calendar. Looking at our milestone that we had created, and currently it is labeled 2.3 or 3.0. I think we're deciding it's 3.0, but I guess it will depend on the content. And so not that we have to go into detail on all of these here, but I am just kind of looking for confirmation that people are, or that the teams are still driving towards this June release. And oh yeah, I guess I didn't even mention that. So that would be a June release. That's when 3.0 would come out. And so I'm kind of looking for confirmation, like for metrics 2.0. Is Heiko on? I know that, you know, Javaland is going on, and so probably a lot of our German developers are probably attending that.
And from Vienna, we have Mark, we have Ivar, we have a bunch of them, all of them attending, and they are in sessions at the moment. So correct.
Yeah, yeah, so it might be kind of difficult to pick up on this. How about Antoine with Health Check? Is he on today?
No.
Okay.
He might be also at Javaland.
Yep. Yeah, he might be. Okay, so maybe I'll just follow up with these guys individually, or I'll post publicly, just to make sure that we're still driving towards these items. I'm pretty sure metrics is, because from talking with my team at IBM, I mean, that's making a lot of progress. They've had some release candidates, and I think they're getting close to marking that one done. A health check, I think they're still working through some items on that. And then we're wondering about the reactive. I know reactive operators is available already, but I don't know about messaging.
So Kevin, my recommendation would be to use the forum, and you can add the stewards, just drop the word leads to the message and say, hey, you guys, here, and we can add them to the minutes. You can go by project and add them to the minutes and say, we have added you to the minutes. Please provide a feedback and join next call or something, but make it like deadline before next call.
Yeah.
Conduct them privately is too much work.
Right. No, that's, I don't know if you heard that part, but after I said privately, I said, oh, I meant the forum. So.
Yeah.
And I know, there's discussions going on with concurrency. That one might even be renamed. And then the transactions one, LRA. and I know that one is making quite a bit of progress at it as well. So outside of these that are listed, does anybody know of any additional items that are being planned for the June release? Okay, I'll put that in my post as well, just to see if there's anything else being worked that I'm not aware of. So I guess, John, I you know, just kind of a quiet status, just because people are very involved with the, I know Javaland, and there's Vox Days in Bucharest, and I know some people are at that. So I think people are busy with conferences this week.
Yeah, and I apologize. One of the things that I was wanting to do was kind of have a draft of a few documents updated around MicroProfile release, you know, a platform spec, release process, stuff like that. So tail between my legs on that one. I apologize. I'll try and get it done for the next meeting, and I really want to have it further along before MicroProfile 3 comes out. Not that it'll impact MicroProfile 3 directly, but I think it'll help generate the discussions. Okay. I am going down the list, so I am sharing now. I apologize, I forgot to share the screen. So let's go on to the next one here. And whoever's taking notes, thank you. Amelia, MicroProfile Forum, how
Okay, you guys.
contributors collaborating.
Thank you, John. So let me, I have many topics, but I will prioritize one. We have Gary. How do I pronounce your name? Did I pronounce it Gary from the Netherlands?
It's pronounced Gerry.
Harry. Okay, I'm Ecuadorian, so I destroy your names. Introduce yourself.
Gary is fine.
Gary is.
I know it's difficult to pronounce for foreigners, so Gary is fine.
Okay. So welcome to MicroProfile. Many of you might not know, but he just published his very first blog on MicroProfile. You are from a group. It's called the Craftsmans, correct?
It's a company.
It's a company. And
yeah.
While checking the blog, a topic came up, and it's I think the second one. It's talking about MicroProfile specification versus MicroProfile components. In your blog, most of it is talking about MicroProfile specifications, and you are referring to each single, what we call components. And John, Kevin, and everyone in this call, because Gary is new, we want to make sure that whomever is blogging and interested in MicroProfile, especially as a company that could be the next partner for MicroProfile, we want to make sure that those two words are differentiated. Can we discuss them so that he understands why I asked to change the word from a specification to components? Anyone can talk. And Gary, you can tell us also how you got to the blog, what brought you to MicroProfile. That is, thank you for joining.
Okay, shall I start then?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. About, I think, somewhere in September, I saw a presentation from a former colleague about MicroProfile, but it was very theoretical, without any code examples. And in October, I went to the Oracle Code 1 and visited some sessions about MicroProfile and thought, hey, that's very interesting. So then I started to work with MicroProfile on my own, in my own personal hobby application. And yeah, that's what brought me to writing about an introduction to MicroProfile using code examples.
Questions for Gary, guys, because he wrote a fantastic blog, but there is some confusion between specifications and components.
Well, okay, so I have not read the blog. I just found it, so I can take another look at it. But there really shouldn't be, if you want to call it a comparison between specifications and components, because components create specifications, and we actually do have a platform specification as well. So I guess I'm not clear on what the confusion was in the blog article. I'll have to get more context before I can comment on that.
Well, not only that, but sometimes we call them component specs.
Right. That's what I meant.
Exactly. So reading Gary's awesome blog that is technical and is fantastic. So Gary, I will ask you via the tickets very soon to submit it for cross-posting on the MicroProfile blog, and you become the newest contributor. But we continue to mix the two words and make them different, and it's just such a mess. So I am saying, because we continue to correct this kind of thing, can we agree on a naming standard that makes it so that we don't miss and match? Because it's becoming so confusing. We need to be stable and a little bit boring with our naming. That's all I want. Well, Gary, how much work was it for you to understand what we were doing in MicroProfile? What is MicroProfile after you saw that session? Tell us. Here is the place where you destroy us.
It was not difficult at all. I mean, I don't know every component yet, but what I've seen from it, it's very easy to use.
Excellent.
Well, we're super excited.
So, Amelia, just to get to your specific question there, we have been trying to be, to differentiate between the platform and the components that make up the platform. So we have the MicroProfile platform, and then we've got all the different components. And so we try to differentiate between those two. Both of them create specifications. The platform specification just pulls in all of the component specifications, but that's the terminology that we are using.
Yes, but we have combined the two, and it's becoming a little bit like a chicle, like it means a gum. Yeah, when you masticate the gum. So it's becoming, the differentiation is not there. And then I'm saying, how can we make it so it's clear that a 7-year-old can understand it? Because we understand it because we know, we breathe MicroProfile from day one. But those newcomers, right? Is there an easy way for us to just simplify?
But I don't know, maybe I guess I need specific instances, Amelia, because I'm reading through this blog and it seems to be pretty straightforward with the terminology. So I'm not seeing the confusion that you're trying to point out.
Okay, and I'll tell you what. So part of one of those documents I mentioned I'm working on is a platform level spec, where I do want to kind of cover this topic, right? How it consists of component specs or whatever, right? So my recommendation is let me get that published. Well, it already is published, but make another kind of attempt at getting it to be more formal, and we could have this discussion maybe in that context about how we want to refer, to the platform spec and the things that are included in the platform spec. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that might be good, John.
That's amazing, because we're writing documentation to make sure that MicroProfile is clear across the board. So, John, +1.
Okay. And Gary, thank you very much for writing the post. I am definitely going to go take a look at it. So, double thumbs up, man.
And Gary,
thank you.
Gary, welcome. Can you add your Git ID into this issue? Help you cross-process into the MicroProfile website, and we can do all these amazing things to amplify the blog that is amazing, actually. And thank you for joining super last minute. Only like less than 10 minutes, you were like, I can join.
All right. So I apologize. I'm going to move things along here just because of we've got 7 topics, and we're already quarter way in. So as is usual, if we need to continue a conversation, if we have time at the end, we'll move to the end and kind of finish it up there. So I apologize for cutting anybody off, but I'm just trying to keep the meeting flowing here. So the next one, Amelia, you want to cover that one?
Can we do Kevin? If there are not many topics, let's go to Kevin that says Jakarta y talk by Emily Yan. That like we can do TikTok, because I don't want to be the only one talking today.
All right, so I'm going to move this, by the way.
Between you and me, I guess we're the ones that kind of filled up the agenda.
And there are 21 people. Everyone here needs to add their names to the minutes, please. There are no secretaries, so you need to write your names in the agenda. The agenda is public.
You
Thank you.
You popped that in the wrong place there.
I know. The indent won't unindent.
So I'll let you mess around with that. So all that I wanted to do here was to advertise the Tech Talk for next week. It's on Thursday. And the title of the talk is a little misleading because I even stumbled on it because it talked about the future of MicroProfile. And it's not going to get into, I'll call it the politics of MicroProfile and Jakarta EE. What Emily is going to do is talk about the future components, the future specifications for MicroProfile, the ones that are currently being worked. And then she's also going to demo the new starter application so that, can get the word out on that. So it sounds like a very good session. And I put the link for it here to pre-register. It's next Thursday. I think they run about an hour. But no, these have been pretty good. I've been participating on the first three, and they've been good. They've had good attendance, and I would recommend you listening in.
So Kevin, what's it bad for you? If you or Emily submit an issue via marketing repo, we can create a design and shoot it with our MicroProfile Twitter handle. I did retweet it last night, but I noticed that how Jakarta handle tweeted it is absolutely mistake. It shows exactly the misunderstanding. Everyone seeing that should know that she will demo a startup, that she will talk about the components, but that should be explicit in the tweet and in the name, and it's not. So let us write the issue and we will fix it.
And a recommendation might be to add this to the MicroProfile calendar.
Yes. Kevin is owning amazing things like.
This is great. I just tell people ideas and everyone else, I don't have to do anything, man. I just create work for everyone else. This is a wonderful meeting. Okay, well, technically I have to update my doc. Okay, so any other discussion on that? Can we move on to the next item? Okay. So Amelia, so I do want to hit Gordon's, but Amelia,
Go with Gordon and go with Martin. My topics are going to be like this.
Okay, so I'm going to move that up. All right, so Gordon, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, I've been observing various different specs wanting to use patterns of use of the config spec, and quite often they're sort of reinventing the wheel. And I think when people come to a lot of the power of MicroProfile is when you use two specs together, I think, so like fault tolerance, in the metrics and things like that. And what I observe is that an expert group, when they have a problem to solve, they kind of think up a solution from a blank sheet of paper. And they might not be aware that the same problem's been solved in terms of the patterns of use of the config spec in another spec. And I didn't know, I was going to create an issue in the config spec and a PR, and then sort of gather in and harvest all the usage patterns into the one place there. But I didn't know if there should be, if we have a platform spec, because it's not actually a config spec topic. It's just a usage patterns recommendation for a common look and feel. So it could be an asset that was in, from the architecture group or some sort of platform spec material. I know we said that the platform was kind of just gathering in all the other specs, but this is kind of like a cross spec topic.
So there is a platform spec, I think, in the works, which is the one of the things I'm working on. Which, by the way, I'll post the URL out there again. So this does sound like it could fall into a platform spec thing. So it's
where
also
do I raise an issue? Is it in the base GitHub repository for MicroProfile, or is there a platform spec repository?
It's a Google Doc at the moment. because it's easy to collaborate on. So good question. I would add it to the list of meeting minutes for the next architecture call, which I think is that next week, Kevin, because I think you were out and I think I saw that. So maybe we should bring this up in the next meeting, and I'll see if I can attend the next architecture meeting, as long as it's not like 2 a.m. my time. And
I think if we do that, you'll start off with a big discussion, and you know, people will say, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea" or whatever. But what I'm offering to do is actually to do the work to collect up the patterns and to create some text that describes what we've got.
Gordon, welcome. I saw you in the forum. Can you? My recommendation will be to shoot an email after this call, add the minutes, and say I was on the call and I suggested this is what I would like to do, and and just place it there, and like that, and the entire community, we're plus 1,000, can see at leisure. We have 2 weeks, and then the architectural call I think is next week. Like that, there is some tracing on when you presented the idea. Since we don't have the repo yet for a sandbox for this kind of thing, and like John says, that is only the word. It's not enough to create tracing. You need to own it. No one can speak for you. So can you do that? Can we add you to the task of sending the minutes to the forum and saying, hey, this is what I would like to do, and start the tracing? You don't need to be stopped. You just need to state what you would hope to do. Is that okay?
Well, what I was wanting to do really was to create a text asset that would describe what I wanted. I don't think that forums are great. The Google discussion group is a great forum for recording the kind of actual technical usage patterns that currently exist.
We don't have Git, and the forum is the first.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that, Amelia. What were you saying?
Gordon, I know that the forum can be super messy. We all know this. However, when we are starting a new project that might bring so much value, like the startup started here. So Rudy came, said something, and then we created, he sent a message to the forum, and then we created a space for him to work. The process works, even though you might think no one will read it. We, in this call, we read it, and it will create tracing, right? We need tracing, and that starts with you owning that thread. No matter if 20 or 1 extra person applies, we just need you to do so that it's just some recording of the work. Because it's fantastic.
Is there a plan for John to move the Google Doc into a GitHub trackable format?
Is there a plan for it? I think at some point. I haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. I just thought it'd be easier to collaborate around a Google Doc. But I understand your point. You want to have some tracking mechanism where you can collect all of these things.
I can create a project.
For example, I could create an issue and a pull request for a section in the config spec, by the end of tomorrow, that would enable pull request commenting and then post to it in the Google group. So I'm happy to work in any way you want, but it seems like a kind of an interesting process.
So maybe what we do is start with it in the config as an issue in the config project, and then when we have a place to rehost it, we can move it. Right, so we can, at least for now, track it in the config, and then decide where we want to put it more long-term.
Are there any text assets in the base MicroProfile repository?
Yes.
I could create a file in there, because that'll be the ultimate home, I imagine, of cross-spec assets.
Yep. Yeah, we could start it there. That would be fine, Gordon.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So when you create that, can you send to the forum saying the link? Just zero.
Yes.
Awesome. And super awesome to see you on this call too.
Oh, thank you. I feel very welcome.
Yes. Welcome.
Right, yeah, I think it's a great idea to kind of collect all these usage patterns and try and standardize them across specs. So love the effort. Okay, so I think that closes off that one.
Yeah.
I think we have a decision here. Oops, sorry.
Mhm.
Actually, if someone could write that down as a decision here, that would be awesome.
I think Gordon can own it.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
John, seriously, don't be nice. It doesn't work.
I just
be
appear
really
nice.
I just said if someone. I mean, anyway, next. So pick one, Amelia.
We have Martin with architectural call. Is he here right now?
Yeah, hello. It's just like really a reminder. We would like to see more people come next week.
All right. I hope to attend. I think last time I had a schedule conflict, and so I hope to be there. I think it's good that we have more folks there as well.
Martin.
That one is already on the calendar. So.
And it's
Martin,
it's still this time next week, right? So it's going to be
right.
It's 11 a.m. Pacific time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't changed because all the time zone messiness right now.
And it will be once a month, right? It will be once a month based on what I saw in the forum.
Yes.
This is great. I have a question, Martin. The two calls that I attended in 2018, when the calls started, the call was distributed in Git issues, and it was very dedicated to that. Do the calls still go through the Git issues and kind of like how everything connects, or how are they processed and consumed during the call? What are the expectations of that call? Because I assume that no one knows anything here. I'm just asking you to tell us, why should we attend?
Basically, you're right. We are going through the issues in MicroProfile repo, and I think the Ken already did the agenda for the next one. I will link it into these minutes.
And go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm finished.
Whoa, Martin, really? You're selling it super fast, super clear.
We don't have that much time.
I love it. Okay, so there are issues. You go there and you're not wasting your time. The agenda is clear, just the Gits, and everything is, so in this call, you will link the minutes to it. And I recommend that you say, we work on Git issues. Like, we can tweet. We can do a tweet on that and say, do you want to join the MicroProfile architectural call? We will go through Git issues, and that will be it for next week. And we can do that this week, should you think that is convenient and is effective to bring more attention to the call that attends maybe 2 to 3 people. Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Create an issue, add it to marketing, repo marketing, and the team will do that for us, for the project.
Okay.
I guess I'm just kind of wondering, Amelia, so from a process standpoint, instead of creating an issue, why can't you just take an action to have the marketing Twitter handle tweet about this?
Because we need tracing. The marketing and business side of MicroProfile operates in 2019 like any other project that is technical. Everything that is done via issues. There are no shortcuts. And those who need help can do that themselves. We are not secretaries. Everyone can own it. You need attention to a call to be attended, write an issue, and the team, especially Ryan is here, the designer behind those awesome things. He can create it in 20 minutes and schedule a tweet in 3 months, and they can go live automatically. But we are bringing this to live this month, but we need more attention to those of you that are doing fun things like creating a session. Just write the issue and it will come up. There are no secretaries, and I don't want to be the point of contact. You know this. I would throw 1,000 times any weight that it doesn't belong to me, because I am not scalable if it's only me. That's the answer. And no smiles? Guys, come on. You already know I was going to say no. Okay. John, what is next on the table? And Martin, super awesome. We will create something cool for that call.
Okay. Why don't we do Dev Nexus, microprofilers, attendance, and feedback? Does anyone attend Dev Nexus? I'm assuming that's what that's about.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you were there. Can you start, please? And you even talk about MicroProfile, so really.
Yeah, I did. I did more talking about MicroProfile at the booth than I did during my session. My session was more on that thing I mentioned earlier about the, you know, more of the politics relationship between MicroProfile and Jakarta EE. That session, although we had a very good conversation, it was not real well attended. And so it was a little disappointing from that perspective. But, you know, we still had a good discussion in there. But like I said, at the booth, we had much better discussions. People were coming by wondering, you know, of course it's an IBM booth, so there are a lot of topics being discussed. But we talked about MicroProfile as part of our reactive story, as part of our open liberty story. We had a setup for these 5-minute quickie workshops, and a lot of them, almost all of them, are based off of MicroProfile, and those were very well attended. So overall, I liked the conference. It was the first time I was at Dev Nexus. I do think that the audience was a little more local than some of the other conferences. There are a ton of people from Home Depot.
70% of the 2,300 are local.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For a second there, I thought you were calling them crazy. I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe that too. I don't know, but no, they were local with an L.
Local. I'm Spanish. I like it.
I also, well,
yeah.
One other thing I also found, and it'll be interesting to hear what you think, Amelia, but a lot of the audience was not as up to speed as some of the other conferences. I mean, a lot of my conversations started very basic because they were not really looking at microservices yet. They were not looking at the cloud. They were very interested in the new versions of Java. But Java on premise, you know, and just moving the current applications forward to a new level of Java. So it was an interesting conversation, or interesting conference, because it just didn't seem like they were as up to speed.
Yes, we have. So one thing that for you, Kevin, because I did see you on Hangout, but we were like super flash in that conference, is that 70% of the population is about, the attendees is like about 2,300 attendance, and it's pretty much local. Atlanta hosts Coca-Cola, Delta, Home Depot headquarters, and a bunch of other ones like Tomcast, and it's incredible. These companies, the big companies, are still working with native language, you know, legacy code, and it's so challenging. The code is like 10, 15, 20 years old. So then anything moving into the cloud is like so weird. So every single time that the Nexus occurred, those companies sent about 50 to 70 people, all of their people, the core architects and engineers, to check out what is new. So this is why it's so important that we had many topics into MicroProfile. I attended Ivar's MicroProfile code on session. It was pure code, and that session had more than 150 people. It was packed because it was the only one about code, right? The differentiation between your session and Ivar is the code, correct?
Yep.
That's why, because
well, you know, and you have to look at it. Though the two sessions were on at the same time, and Kirkus was on at the same time, so you do have to kind of look at the competition too. So.
Exactly. Okay, so John, you Red Hat and during the Nexus, you guys brought Kirkus. It's your job to explain to us. You already sent an email, like a blog. What's going on with that?
Kirkus.io. Okay. So it's a new implementation of MicroProfile. Again, I don't want to turn this into a marketing thing, but as a new implementation, we really focus on containers and Kubernetes as the deployment target for Java. And so in that context, we think, how can we improve that experience, right? So a lot of it is around startup time, low memory utilization, programming models that are more aligned to it. Like if you've been following any of the Twitter threads, it's like, I've been talking about maybe we don't really want JSF in the context of cloud native, right? And so anyway, that's at a very high level. Think of it that way. If we're going to do a microservices Java framework and it was targeting containers and Kubernetes, that's what Kirkus is. The other thing, kind of that ties into that a little bit. I added it to the bottom, and I apologize for jumping the line a little bit, but I wrote a blog post on MicroProfile is not equal to Jakarta EE. And the reason I did that is because I'm seeing too many, what I think, again, this is my personal view, too many direct associations between Jakarta EE and MicroProfile where developers just kind of assume that this is just an extension to Jakarta EE. And while it can be used in that way, and it's important that it continues to be used that way, there are implementations, and I mentioned some, right, like Helidon and Kirkus, that are doing it in different ways. So I just wanted to make sure that people realize that there are other contexts that MicroProfile can be used in, right? So if you're interested in that topic, go take a look at the blog. So far, the feedback has been positive. I expect it to be beat up over the head a little bit, and so far I haven't. I've got thick skin. It's okay. So
you included into the MicroProfile blog. Also, I saw the Kirkus blog, but did you also put it in our site, in the MicroProfile site?
You mean like a link to it?
Yes, imported, cross it.
Okay, I haven't done that. I'll have to. Maybe we'll chat about that offline.
All the information is in the guidelines of the blog. It's super easy. It takes you 2 minutes. So read it, do it.
Okay. The next one here is. Oh, we talked about the terms already. Where are we with the betterment on how easy it is to actually to MP? I'm assuming you're meaning contributing to it?
Yeah, it was a contribution thread out on the forum, and I think I really was just wondering where we at with the status of that.
Yes, so John, you started a thread, and it was like 2 months ago or so, about contributing how easy is it. And this is it's exactly the same topic that we're having that is linked to contributors of MicroProfile coming in and how we're using the repo and the infra. There is another topic here that is so important that I want us to talk about. I don't think any of you has opened the bug, but now we have Eclipse Eclipse has about 300 projects under their system. They control the infra of each project. We have discovered that those that write the send code that are not committers cannot even assign the tickets they create to themselves. So it goes beyond all, not the thread that we created, but how do we make Git better without losing without not protecting how we do the PRs, right? I'm not asking, I'm asking everyone to check bug 483563 that is in here, and it's immediately after Kevin's in yellow line. And this is so important because it's aligned to how do we contribute. At the moment, Git doesn't work and making it effortlessly for everyone to do a good job to start and end an issue they create. I'm not talking about PRs. I'm talking just a freaking issue, and it cannot even be done. So.
Yeah, but some of that though, because we are part of Eclipse, and there's the Eclipse process for Git, some of those permissions are not accessible until you become a committer. And you know, that's just something that we've had to live with. I mean, people can still participate. It's just that they can't assign their own, you know, issues to themselves. So.
And Kevin, I understand this. I forward the internal thread that I have with the Eclipse master because he's awesome. Chris and Matt, they are really cool people. The thing is that this thread didn't get started by me. We have others, and IBM and Red Hat already commenting on this. We are not asking, the bug doesn't ask to be to make the infra of how we contribute a freaking freedom fighters thing. It asked for anyone that creates an issue to own it until the end. Again, we're talking about if someone is not a committer and is a contributor and it wants to do something unrelated or related to code, to at least be able to assign it itself, move it to progress, and review, and do this kind of things. What the Eclipse master said is, this is amazing. This is the issue we have. It has only one comment. If you can make it live, we can see how we can adjust it. Now there are two issues on the same thing shared under the same house. And I am saying that we cannot start and continue thinking that because something has been done in the past and it has worked in the past, it will work today. That would mean that there is no flexibility to change, and we can't change, as I have stated it in this call that's being recorded. I am saying enough feedback, not only by this project, but by multiple projects within Eclipse, they are having the same issues, will enable us to do something better, at least with collaborating with the issues. So I'm asking everyone to go in there, read it, provide your feedback. The mentality that this is how it's in the past and we cannot adjust it needs to be dropped.
Okay. Well, first of all, you didn't mention that you had issues open with Eclipse that were being processed. I thought this was something that you were trying to just do on your own.
No, no, this was started. I started privately with an issue with Harry, and then I included the master, and then he sent to me the issue, and then someone, and everyone, it has been, the conversation has been revitalized by two different bugs, and it's all tracked and the link here. And it's fascinating.
Well, wait, Amelia, wait. You said the link here. I don't see any pointers to any issues.
In the minutes here. Check the minutes and you will be, all the data is there.
I'm okay, sorry. I'm looking at the minutes on John's screen. I don't know which ones you're talking about.
Bug 48356. Let's consume this.
Oh, okay. So there were two entries there for this discussion, and John was the latter one.
Mm-hmm. I have yet to include the second bug. It was just shared with me on Sunday, so I will share it again and make it a part of this.
This has been open for 4 years.
And you see, and now go down, and you will see that now all those people are starting to comment back. That is the level of, and go down. This is me. And then we have more people from other projects, plus the 300. So everyone is gathering their troops. And this is not about, you see what I mean?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for looking at the bug and contributing if you can.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that as well. Oops, I lost track of where I am here. Our header is so big I get confused. Let's see here. I think, we have one more. White paper get issue and status.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the white paper, we have moved into the design side. Ryan, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. So I have asked Ryan, who is not yet the owner of this side. Can you give us an update on how much time you think it might take, and there are different ways to do this? That is the final part of the white paper. And thanks in advance.
Okay. So I'll fill all this information in the doc after the call. But I'm looking at the document, and it's about 18 pages long. in a Google Doc. I don't know who else has reviewed it. I think it's open to the community. So if you haven't looked at it yet and you want to get your comments in, please do it before we put it through design. Of course, you know, changes can be made and will be made after it's gone through all the formatting. But I'm guessing because 18 pages, not counting images and reworking images, probably about 5 days of work plus just really matters on how much comments come back afterwards and changes and tweaks, and you know, it can turn into 2 months if you have the whole community commenting and going through these things. So from my side, I could, you know, I think, yeah, I estimated time is about 5 days plus comments. So I would say 10 days if everyone starts looking at it. And I don't know how much it's been reviewed or how many people have reviewed and put their comments in.
We're pretty much done with the review. Ryan, we're pretty much done with the review. It can be adjusted a few things, especially the ending. But
I mean, I've done this process many times before in my Zero Turnaround when we were producing Rebel Lab, and there was a lot of late adjustments. So I'm just bringing this up to the community so that we can skip the headaches of late adjustments and tweaks. So if you have a chance, please go through it, and then when everyone feels it's right to go, I think we will all move it forward into design. If that clears up anything. Any questions about it?
No, thanks for the introduction there.
Yeah, this is the final. Yeah, this is the final, and I think we're kind of excited because the project needs to be completed, and content is live, so we can update it. You know, Lars is pro bono, have worked on this pretty much in his free time, and he's lots of research put into this, including the latest releases. So every single time a new release happens, he has to update it, and we will contribute to the last page. Most of you have helped. So now that Ryan, one thing you didn't explain is that because it's 18 pages, I believe, and this is me being just totally ignorant, saying maybe 40 to 50% needs to be designed so it's consumable, because most of it is not only code, but also words. So to make it readable, how much design do we add to it within the area? We have the latest one created by Red Hat that is about 15 pages, and it has a lot of design. So we can use something similar on the level of design to make it consumable, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you could say probably the pages are going to double, just on a safe estimate.
That is what we believe. It might be 30 to 40 pages long.
Quick question about this. Will it ever be printed? Because I would set it up, you know, that's 2 different setups. No? Okay, great.
No.
Perfect.
Well, if someone wants to kill trees, they can print it, but I
don't kill trees.
Yes.
I think that I read that as "Don't kill Ryan."
Well,
you read it right.
Yeah, and one thing is that everyone that has their logos, every vendor that has their logos and MicroProfile IO, you know, the design has not been finalized. This is us telling you, hey, we're in this phase and it's completed. Like, the hard thing has been done. Now we go into the cute part. When the design of the partners are in the website, they can be expected maybe to be in the banner and the bottom of the page. So Gary, you are joining MicroProfile, and in the future, so you think that your company might want to officially join and be part of the MicroProfile in the site, you need to submit it, and maybe you also become, you know, be added in there. It's like everyone can have access to this kind of thing because we contribute. As much as you contribute, you get influence and access to be a part of the experience and the project. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that is all we have for the agenda today. Does anyone have any last minute item that they would like to bring up?
I do actually. John, the thread. I went into my bug, but I didn't go into the thread. What happened with the documentation that Heiko was creating, and how do we contribute and the growing pains?
Growing pains is, at least from my perspective, because that's a thread I started, is a work in progress. I'll work on that more along with the platform spec and stuff. As for Heiko, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a Javaland, so we do not know. But Kevin, you were owning and giving super good feedback on that thread about we need to add a new click onto how to contribute and the website. And do we have a link of a get where we have that data yet or not yet?
I really don't know. I think it was Philip that was doing a lot of that work, but I don't know that we did anything related to gathering any statistics.
Well, nothing has been adjusted yet because the thread is ongoing, but we need to close it. So we need a link that we can update that, just as we have done with the MicroProfile blog, how to contribute. We just need one link, something that is efficient. And I know that Philip and Heiko were working really hard on documenting to make it easy for anyone new, not to spend 1 week working on MicroProfile to know how to help. Not everyone can attend sessions and meet or join in this call. So virtually, effortlessly.
So I haven't done anything else but a contribute markdown file in every project. And that's all that I've done.
Who is sucking?
That was Philip.
Philip. Okay, Philip. You can say this is Philip. So Philip, you go into the repos and you were working on this. Do you have a link that we can update the click onto the website? Something, because it cannot go, the thread cannot go forever with such a good feedback with nothing for us to make something better that is automatically done. So
I haven't done anything on the website. I'm not sure how to make changes to the website.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you, do we have the house of where all the documentation is being written? We need a link of it. Something that says, here is like the skeleton of how you can help. Do we have that?
Well, every project has a contribute.markdown or ASCII doc actually file. It's different per project, so there can be multiple links. I'm not sure if I understand what you're after.
Yeah, do we have a master just for one that house all the stuff? Like I can do the repo, but we're not using only the repo. So what I'm saying is we need something that we can add into the website under contributors. They say, become a contributor. Click, and it will tell.
So there's no master, but I mean it's similar across all. Well, everybody that accepted the pull request, that you can link to the contribute.ascii file. So, but yeah, there's no master or something like that.
We cannot be biased and choose just one project. It needs to be. I have no idea how to fix this, guys.
Start a thread.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah, my recommendation is to start a thread on this. What I'm showing on the screen right now is, I just thought I would throw this up on the growing pains thread. Just since we mentioned it, I put a little context around it. Basically, we are now 9 homegrown specs. We're adding, I think, 3 more potentially in 3.0. So yes. we're getting very feature rich, and that has some consequences. So just go ahead and take a look at this thread. I don't necessarily want to dig into everything and turn this into a long discussion, but my hope, what I'd like to do is throw out a proposal. I don't have it fully thought out and written down yet, but sometime this week, throw out a proposal that basically says, here's maybe how we deal with these growing pains. It's a good thread, and I'll base a proposal on the feedback in the thread, and then we can basically collaborate on the proposal, and part of this will influence and impact the platform doc, right?
Yes.
So the platform spec. So this really does have to come before platform spec does.
So John, so that means you're going to add into the minutes once again the growing pains, because I noticed that I wasn't able to attend the Nexus Hangout 2 weeks ago, but it was dropped. But I know it's not done. So can we make this topic a standard for the next call? Because I think it's so important. We are growing. We have maybe soon 12 like components, you can call it. And how do we make it so that we don't become a total mess? Like MicroProfile is easily adaptable. We're concerned about adaptability. And if you can own it because you have owned that awesome thread, that is so amazing. Just,
you know, I like having Annalise on these calls because that's twice she's called me amazing.
I know, right? And I'm sick. Sorry, guys.
We can't tell. Okay, let's see here, because you're as bubbly as ever. So
I'm interested in the growing pains of how one spec works closely with another if it's got a disjoint set of people. So, for example, we had a discussion today in the reactive Hangout about what would you do at the edge of reactive. You know, could you map the back pressure semantics into fault tolerance semantics? Like, you know, James Roper was saying, well, to do that, basically you need a queue, and there's a queue in the bulkhead annotation that's got semantics in the fault tolerance spec. And I think there's fantastic, sometimes people say something like the fault tolerance spec, maybe a lot of it should belong in the mesh. Okay, maybe you've got fallback, but you could just do that with a try catch. But when we added in metrics, so you get metrics for free, it's fantastic value add. And I think a lot of the value is where we look to get synergy between more than one spec. And I'm not sure we've got a process to help encourage that.
So Gordon, in my view, growing pains is the most important topic at the moment in Q3, in Q1 for MicroProfile. Because as John started the thread early this year, we are growing and there is no process. MicroProfile is very flexible. But what is when we throw so much stuff that is impossible to keep up, not only with releases, but working together to bring the project not to be, you see what I mean? It's like at the moment.
Yeah. So to give you a concrete example, as the number of specs grows, the way that they interact becomes an n-by-n problem, and it's a lot harder to stop and create. We could create a table, for example. What does it mean when this spec interacts with this spec? And there isn't anyone who's thinking about. Well, maybe there are. I don't want to say there isn't anyone thinking about it, but I think the growing pains is that as the number of specs increases, the number of combinations explodes.
Correct, and we have thought about this since last year. Last year we also talked, but we never. Last year we had 3 calls on immediately in 1 week about how to do the releases, and this is. We talked a little bit about this, but now it's a bigger issue because we have likely 3 new ones. And this is something that's so important. So if you have not commented on the thread that John just shared, please do so. This is the most important topic to deal with. And it's not only in Q1, but also Q2 and in the future. We should always be revisiting this as a constant.
Because I thought when I looked at the platform spec and perhaps this thread, there's a healthy focus perhaps on operational issues, the process of running these processes. And there isn't so much stuff about the kind of static semantics of, well, these are how the things work together in situ. It's a lot of it is.
All right, it is. I apologize for cutting short here. We're going to have to continue this on the next call in 2 weeks. So good call. Thanks everyone for joining. And for topics for next week, please feel free to add them. In fact, I'm going to scroll the screen here. Right.
And I took some photos. I took some photos of most of you. So expect the tweet coming in, terrible tweets, but they are coming. So retweet the hell out of them. So
thank you everyone for joining. We'll be back in 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat channel, and enjoy the time until then.
Is it already so late?
Amazing seeing everyone, and thank you so much, Gary, for the last minutes.
So,
folks.
sorry, folks. Some folks seem to be just joining. I think this is time zone math.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange, John, and I think it's for Europe. It's maybe for some other places. I think it's the same probably for Mark and me.
Yes.
I'm in another country. I think it's like in the calendar, it shows up now, and then suddenly it's already finished.
I got like 50 texts while talking saying, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? 15 so far. Guys, I think
Kevin did a kind of vote and moved it and updated the diary, I think.
Yeah, it was a more recent conversation, though. It started sometime yesterday. So if you haven't been, staying current with email, you probably missed.
Oh, maybe I missed that.
Math. Yeah, the time zone math update.
Emily, you went 13 more. Don't worry, you're not the older one. 13 more missed it too. Don't worry, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're still recording. Thanks everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
And folks, here's special requests from Javaland conference. Emilia. Hello. So, well, I moved over here from the dinner to the conference room.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's quite unfortunate. You can go back to enjoy the dinner.
Yes, I will definitely do. Okay, so then enjoy the evening.
Yeah, okay. Bye, Mark.
All right,
Bye,
thanks
everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.